I don't see as work, it's my passion. And I cherish every single project, so I get that butterfly feeling of excitement.
Enough about me, Flekz. All right, I gotta learn more about you, because actually the whole time we were in China, I never asked you the question about like where you're from. I think you said LA.
So I was born in El Salvador. I was born in El Salvador. I was born in '94. A lot of you probably think I'm a fucking baby, which I am. I'm 25. Still got a long life to live, which is great. I'm excited. But yeah, I moved here into the States when I was 2 with my mother. And it was a huge transition. I remember I remember coming here and just thinking like, holy shit, I'm in the U.S. and like it was a huge comparison. Like it's a huge difference, you know, coming from like almost a third world country coming into the U.S. Yeah, and basically when I moved here, we were back and forth living in the U.S., back in back in El Salvador, and really just trying to feel out LA and see what happened. Obviously, now I'm living here, permanent residency. Or living here in LA, but it really, you know, it built me as a person.
Nice. And then do you remember ever being an artist when you were young, or was it something that you grew into?
So I actually hated art growing up. Like I really hated it, but I was always into architecture as well as like space and just design. And it was something I was always into, but me creating it, I hated craft. To this day, I still hate certain crafts. Like I hate making cards, I hate wrapping gifts. But you know, one day when I was in 8th grade, I had this amazing teacher. Her name is Pat McLeod, and she was like, just get into it. Like just start. She assigned me all these crazy work, and I just fell in love with it. I got it shortly after that when I was in 9th grade. I got into graffiti, street art, and started doing a lot of graffiti. And then that's how I found that, you know what, street art and just art in general was part of me. And yeah. Nice.
You know, I didn't know that you started off in the street art world. So are we talking about stencils, wheat pasting, or graffiti and writing?
So I first got into writing.
Nice.
And then at the time that I got into writing, there was this gallery called Crew West, which is one of the classic street art galleries where Risk, Saber, and all these crazy street artists first popped off.
Yeah, that's right.
And they were always big, but it was that next level for them where they started getting into different markets and whatnot. So at that time, I met this artist named Sakor at this sticker exchange there. I didn't have any stickers, but him and I just kicked it off. And he was like, dude, we're going to go mob all these walls, come through. So he started inviting me. We started mobbing. We would go on crews of 10 people and create these huge murals in an hour. And it was so much fun. And that's how I learned how to write. And I started started finding my style. And then after that, I first saw Exacto the gift shop around it was 2011, 2012.
Yeah, old school.
Yeah, and then I started creating similar stencils as Banksy. And then after that, creating my own style, really figuring my niche. And then after that, because a lot, as you know, but a lot of people who may be watching don't know my style, I create geometric tape work. So I'm really into geometry, and especially sacred geometry. So I started creating these sacred geometry designs with stencils, and then after that, I discovered that I could create those designs with tape. So tape kind of overtook as my main medium, and still my main medium now. And yeah, that's a whole wrap of basically what I do.
That's amazing. No, it's cool. That's a cool evolution.
Yeah,
because it's you started off, of course, in 9th grade, art teacher that really inspired you. You got into art, then you got into mobbing out with the homies, putting out burners and throwaways and tags, whatever it was. And then from there, you figured out, okay, I want to develop my own style. And then you found it through sacred geometry.
Right.
And then tape. So a lot of you folks out there that don't know about Flekz, he takes masking tape or duct tape, painter's tape.
Right.
Uses an Exacto knife. It creates geometrical designs, and it's amazing. It's so elaborate. It's so symmetrical. I remember watching you at China Coat. This is in Shanghai. I would stand there watching you for about 30 minutes, just looking at the shapes you were creating, because I, for one, love sacred geometry.
Right.
I just have this affinity to it. And it's also because I'm a Freemason. Freemasons we base a lot of our practices in geometry.
Right.
But the thing is that's really awesome is that what you created with your pieces is symmetry with tape without a ruler.
Right. Yeah,
Okay.
There's no measurements.
No measurements. And it's so ingenious and it's so inspiring to watch because it's watching someone, it's kind of like hearing about Hendrix,
Wow.
not knowing, how to play classical music or having never been taught, but he taught himself just because of the way it sounded.
Right.
For you, it was just like, you know what? I'm just going to create this art, no measurements, nothing. I'm just going to do it from feeling, do it from my flow state, do it from passion.
Right. And that's basically what it is. Like,
Yeah.
it's just me just putting all of myself on a wall.
Fuck.
Like, just by creating and just what I'm feeling at that moment.
Mhm.
For instance, the mural that we did at China Coat, there's like, I did a few sketches just to kind of kick off the project. Besides that, it was like a 25% of the mural itself.
Wow.
But then the rest of that was just, it's just impulsive and how I felt at the moment. And like, there's so many different emotions that go into a mural. It's definitely a lot of anger. It's a lot of sadness. It's everything. It's just me on a wall.
Wow. And so I think talking about that, I've had this conversation with artists too. The idea of prepping your art or being in the moment.
Right.
Right? Is it like, for me, it's going onto a shoot with a shot list storyboard and a script. Though sometimes I like just to take my camera out and start shooting.
Right.
There in the spot, no plan. In your mind, because what's your work process? What's your process of like creativity?
I think it's the same as what you just literally explained. Like, it depends on what the project is and how I feel that day. Obviously, if I'm creating an art piece for a client, most of the time clients ask me, hey, just freestyle a piece, but here's these different key elements that I want you to add to it, or different colors. But when it comes to more of a smaller piece, it's definitely just freestyled. But for, let's say, a commissioned mural, nowadays, most people who want a mural, they want a sketch pre to creating the mural. So there's definitely a lot of planning that goes into it, a lot of renderings. So it really depends on the project. But for me, completely as an artist, and I had like the opportunity to create a huge space, I think I would just love to just freestyle it, because it's something that now I don't really have the opportunity to do because clients are expecting something. So I would want to freestyle it just because in my genes, that's the way I feel. Like, I want to it's like kind of just dancing like the whole situation away, just having fun with it. And I think if I could do that, that's definitely my preference of work that I would want to do, because there's more exploration. You find there's so many mistakes that happen when you create something freestyled, but those mistakes can turn into something beautiful. And if you understand your craft, those mistakes could easily be fixed. You could create something that better out of it. And that's something that I prefer, like 110%. I'd rather just freestyle my own designs.
Man, I love that, because when I was seeing you at China Code, I thought you planned it out. And what I also saw you at China Code is that you also had headphones on.
Yeah.
And so let's talk about the importance, I guess, of music and how you get into your flow state, your creative state. How do you do it?
It's just, obviously, music is literally one of the most important things when it comes to creating an art piece for me. A lot of other people don't like to listen to music. They just, they're just listening to the world around them. For me, music is what creates, a lot of my work is repetition. So I need something that's repetitive or something that just keeps me going. So right now, I'm like, one of my favorite artists, it's this like kind of like death metal trap music. It's really wild. They're called Suicide Boys. If you guys ever get the chance, please listen to them. They sound fucking ridiculous, but they're amazing. And it's really aggressive, but at the same time, like, they're incredible. Like, they're incredible. They have like that Bone Thugs and Harmony, like hardcore like melodies where they're just literally rapping for like 5 minutes straight, but you can't even understand any of their lyrics because it's so fast. But at the same time, the beat is so, like, the bass is so fat that you just want to dance. You want to rage. But at the same time, I listen to a lot of like oldies from like the 70s, like 80s, like anything. It's just it's just the vibe and what keeps me going. But definitely the most creative like music that helps me is like house music, like industrial house, the repetition, like, like the mood, like just wanting to dance, but at the same time, like processing it within your own art and keeping that repetition and the momentum going so you don't stop working.
Nice. And my question is, before you said emotion into it, right? You said there's a lot of anger into that one piece. So now with the music and with your emotions, do you see a difference from your happy, awesome art to your angry, I would say aggressive art?
I don't, because, you know, I think that at this point in my life, I feel like being mad and happy, like, I don't know about you guys, but sometimes there's like, it's like, I don't know, I'm from LA. So like, you know, when you drive, you might have like road rage. Something dumb might happen and you might be mad for that split second, but it doesn't interrupt your day at all. It's just rage. Like you literally just give out rage sometimes, like in your head. Like you just do that without thinking about it, but it doesn't affect your daily life. It's just something like that. So like sometimes like rage and madness can also be happiness. Like that. For me, it just works that way. Like not like violent, like not violent mad, because that's a whole different madness that, you know, that shouldn't exist. Like there's controlled rage, you know, and like that's like, yeah, my work isn't different because in me I have like, I guess the cheesiest way I could put it is like happier rage, where I'm just like I'm just mad but I'm happy at the same time. And like, yeah, I don't think there's any difference between it. Definitely, if anything, where I see the difference is like when I'm like, you know, really sad or depressed, because that's like a whole different vibe, you know. Like with rage and happiness, it's like you feel success and you feel like the power to keep going. But with sadness, it's like extra work to create something, or it's just a whole different vibe. You're a whole different person. Yeah. You're
like the Incredible Hulk for art.
No, not at all. Not at all. Not at all. I wish. Incredible Hulk is pretty badass. Not gonna lie, I'm a huge Marvel fan. So
yeah, no, it's cool that you talked about, you know, madness. I mean, rage and happiness. It gives you energy,
right?
But when you're depressed, you're lethargic. You don't have the energy,
right?
So it's almost your art will get better if you have the energy,
right,
to do it. And so when you were about to prep for a piece and everything, and you want to get into that state, is it always the music, or do you find looking at other artwork, doing few exercise, few movements, like how do you get into your creative state?
For me, it's definitely one of the biggest thing is definitely like exercise.
Talk about this.
Yeah, I'm really active when it comes to my daily life. I feel like last year I had, you know, I was working out, but I wasn't working out to the amount that I really wanted to. But this year I just picked up rock climbing, and my body has like become really, you know, my goal is to get really strong, but not like get like buff, but just be active. So when I create my work, I don't get exhausted. One thing that my clients really like about me is that I work really quickly. So that's one way to prepare, is like working out, and that's my biggest way to prep. But I guess emotion wise, when it comes to me working, you know, it's just like I just get really excited. Like with work, it's like having butterflies in my stomach. It's like me acknowledging that what I'm doing isn't just something that like I work really hard for it, and it's every project is an opportunity, and it's not just something that I can just see as, you know, it's like whatever, like I'm gonna make, like this is just a project, like I have to get it done. I don't see it as work. It's my passion, and I cherish every single project, so I get that butterfly feeling of excitement when I'm gonna work. And I guess that's like the only preparation.
Nah, I love that, because actually I had another interview with this author named Alec Ross, who wrote this book called Industries of the Future. Very intelligent guy who told me that when he gets prepped for a book and he gets stuck in the creative rut, he exercises.
Yeah.
Happens to me too. You know, I have a high performance coach, and what I've learned is that every time I need some inspiration, I do this out of just habit. I actually shadow box.
Oh wow!
Because I do MMA. I train MMA.
That's so cool.
It's strange to think about how a lot of creative people need movement,
right?
And your physical body and your physical health translate to your mental and artistic and creative health.
It does.
So really straight up, it's really, I think it's best when people are healthy physically, because then it helps you mentally and creatively. And it's cool that you talk about that and how you've actually gotten into rock climbing. Do you find yourself, you know, creative in those moments, or do you find it more of kind of like a moment where you don't have to think? when you exercise?
It's a little bit of both. Like, obviously, when you're rock climbing, you don't think about anything besides just making sure that you're fine, because rock climbing could be really dangerous. But at the same time, you know, my work is, when it comes to my work, you asked me if, you know, if I view other artists' work as inspiration. I purposely don't look at other artists' work as inspiration. I do recognize other artists for their talent and amazing work, but I never use it as inspiration, and my work is completely my own. And I've really pride myself on that, just because, you know, my medium and what I do came to me as, like, you know, as a calling for me to create just my own creating and, like, ability. So I really don't like using other people's work as that. But when I but one thing I do with my work is that the last piece whatever piece I make, the following piece has to be better than the last piece. And it's this perfection, almost perfectionist, not perfection, but challenge to myself to make myself better at my own work. And it's not because I want to be better than anybody else or anything like that. I'm not the type of person. It's just for myself. And, like, to feel like I did something. Same way as rock climbing. Rock climbing, there's different degrees of, you know, what type of climb you're going to do. You know, there's easy climbs and there's really hard climbs where you have little to no grip to get up a wall. So it's always that challenge. Like, it's always that challenge to do better, to keep, like, making yourself a better person, and, like, and not stopping, because, like, why would you want to go any lower? You know, you just want to get better. Once you're up there, you don't want to get down.
It's true. Yeah. It's almost like they say that once you know, find success, it takes twice as much work to keep it.
Right.
And for you, I love the idea that you still get the butterflies in your stomach and you still have the hunger every time you get a client job.
Right.
Because, you know, there are people out there that want to become an artist. And when they do become that artist, a full-time artist, they get into a complacency and they reach a plateau where they either look at their work as just another job. Right. Or they just feel like, oh, I'm comfortable now. I don't want to innovate. I'm getting paid now. There's nothing to worry about.
Right.
And I almost feel that a lot of artists out there, they want to get to our level where we can create all day. And if we as artists don't innovate, and if we fall off and don't get that hunger or those butterflies in our stomach, we're going to get replaced.
Right.
And it's also, we don't innovate enough to inspire the next generation.
Right.
So I was going to ask you, you know, how now with your, you know, with the tape art and everything, where do you want to take it? You know, you told me one time you want to take it to buildings.
Right.
Tell me where you want to take it.
Well, you know, there's so many different ways that you could take anything. You know, you could always keep pushing it. But I think, you know, right now, I always get caught up in the moment. You know, You know, I'm still young, where I get caught up in the moment, where I want now, the things that I want, material things and whatnot, which is a curse, especially for society, you know, being stuck on material things. And I'm learning to stay away from that mentality. But obviously, I think my goal at the end would be to help other artists, you know, push other artists, create my own gallery, or, you know, not even create my own gallery, but become an art dealer for other people. Like,
oh, nice.
So one of the things that I do love about my career, I do love my work, but I also love the ability of business. I love pushing it. I love finding clients. I love getting to know my clients in a business level, and keeping that, and also using those abilities to incorporate with other different things besides just art. So my future goal is, you know, if anything happens to me, like, find a way to take care of myself later. But also, like, art-wise, I would want to paint a huge building. I would want to create a large installation. You know, I can only, like, there's so many possibilities with what I can create, but as a long term, that's totally what I think. But going back to your topic about plateauing as an artist, you know, when I first kicked off my career, I really hit a point where, you know, it was big. You know, I was getting a project every month. No, not every month, but every week. Damn. And I was busy, but nonstop busy. And there was a point where I got too comfortable with it, and I hit that plateau, and then work just started decreasing because I stopped working because I was so comfortable, and I felt comfortable, like I was like already made it, you know. And it was the worst feeling. Like, once that high dropped and I realized my surroundings, I got into this really depressed state when I was realizing that that's not the wave, and you can't let things just come to you. You have to work for what you got. And with that, you know, with that depression, I hit this other level where I got grounded, and I realized what was happening. I realized, like, I the wave kept going, but I jumped out of it because I was too comfortable. And I saw that. And I saw that what I had, my art was, you know, I love my work.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, real, I fucking love my art.
Yeah.
I love what I do. Like, and, you know, I don't think it's bad for someone to say that they love what they do and they love what they're making. I love what I make. And seeing that opportunity I left off, because the opportunity is always there. Doesn't matter what age you're at, the opportunity is always there. Mm-hmm. So with that, you know, that reminder that, you know, success, you have to keep working for it. Mm-hmm. Like, I hit it and I ran and I just jumped on it, and I've been grinding nonstop ever since I hit the depression, because it was like the worst thing that has ever happened in my life. Because I had it and I dropped it. I dropped the ball for no reason, because I was like, felt too comfortable, and I jumped back on it. And with anything in life, you can never get too comfortable. Mm-hmm. Like, yeah, getting comfortable is great when you're done working, though. Mm-hmm. When you're done working, because you got to keep going. Even like after you retire, you got to find something else to do, because if not, you're gonna die quickly. You got to keep going. Yeah,
no, I'm so with you about the idea of hitting success and then plateauing, because I found that too in my directing, my videography too. And I remember building a YouTube channel to a point where I was going to Dubai, I was going around everywhere just filming for free, and starting off filming for free. I was getting paid to film, but I was feeling free. And I was one of those moments where I let it drop as well, because I got complacent. And then what happened was YouTube passed this out. There was an algorithm that basically took down all the monetization for videos that had songs that were owned by other people. So I saw a lot of my revenue drop. I saw a lot of opportunities drop. And like you said, if you get too comfortable and you miss that opportunity, or you don't work as hard or even harder to keep it, you will get replaced. And if not, your art's going to suffer.
Right.
And I'm at a point right now where I was just talking to, you know, my coach today about it. Every single day, I'm working towards getting better.
Right.
Because just like you said, it's always about being better than your last piece. Right. Better than your last work. Because being an artist, being a human is about evolution.
It is.
And we're not stuck as babies. We evolve, and we evolve to get better. And as we get better and better, it's also good to have the right mind state.
Right. That's the most important part.
Yeah. And for you, I know when you hit that depression, you had to have switched your mind state to something different.
Right.
And so how's your mind state? How do you keep your mind state positive now, so that you always have that fire to keep moving forward?
Honestly, I think it's just life and just living, you know, like, that's super fucking cheesy, but you know, it's just remembering, you know, prior to me even having my career, and like, you know, me even just saying my girlfriend, you know, and like where I live, my apartment, and just anything around me, like, I'm thinking about like how shitty I felt, you know, and how lonely I felt, and how, like, you know, life I wasn't doing well, you know, and that's just kind of like what keeps me going. And as well, like, not just me, but my family, you know, my mom, my family, like my closest family. I'm like thinking, like, you know, I can't let them down. And also just thinking about the people around me. There's so many people who, like, I graduated with high school with in college, where they became complacent and they had all these dreams, and like they got stuck to their 9 to 5, and you know, they big goals, and you know, they just dropped it. They dropped the ball and they got too comfortable, and you know, they're just doing, you know, just the minimal, when in reality there's so much more they can do, and it's so sad, and I don't want to fall into that. And I have this huge, it's literally a huge opportunity, and I can't let it go. Like, so I can't. And also, you just got to keep grinding.
Nice. So you see it in your peoples. You see your motivation, your mindset comes from this place of love for your fam, and making sure that you provide for them, and also inspire them. Right. And also inspiring others who forgot about their dream or left their dream aside to join the rat race and become a 9 to 5er.
I hope so. That's something that I don't think about, because like, I feel like a lot of artists, when they create murals, their whole instant thing is like, I want to inspire, like, with my work. You know, I never thought about my work inspiring anyone. Like, thank you if my work inspired you. That's something I don't think about. And like, that's definitely something I hope to really place into, you know, my family and my friends' life, hopefully.
Yeah, it's cool, because you could have, like you said, just kept going and grinding, not think about anyone else and just, be you, all you, lone wolf. But it's the people around you and living life and being grateful for the people around you that kept you out of this depressive rut. That's keeping you going. And I actually started this podcast because I'm speaking to the people who do have 9-to-5 jobs or working or doing something that isn't part of their purpose or their passion. And they've always had a creative gift or creative passion, but they haven't really taken advantage of it because they were either ashamed of it or they become complacent with something else like a career.
Right, or there's no other way to survive, so you have to do it.
Yeah. What would you say to someone like that? What would you say to someone that is, working somewhere that they don't want to be, but they have like this inner urge to be an artist?
Quit your job and just become an artist. No, don't don't do that. I would say, you gotta feel out. Like, I don't know. I really don't know because it's so hard. This is where politics and all this crazy stuff. Mm-hmm. Not gonna go into it, but our society is fabricated where you're not meant to succeed. Mm. You really aren't. The margins of making money and to where you need to live comfortably to being the lowest state, it's so different and it's so hard to really get into all these there's different opportunities, but at the same time we're meant to be brought down. And it's so hard. But what I would say is that if you do have any pockets of time when you find yourself literally watching an episode of Netflix or something like that, I would highly recommend creating something or at least just exercising or trying to push yourself to do something. Because these formats of especially web series, TV, your phone, it is literally meant to suck you in and control you and make you weak. And a lot of people think, there's obviously if you are into film and it is your passion, great. But at the same time, your body needs some sort of you need your endorphins to flow. You need to push yourself out there, try something. It's just all about that creativity. Or if you do work, maybe you have that 9-to-5, you really love what you do. Mm-hmm, and it may be what people think is basic and whatnot. But if it's something that you do, give it your fullest. You got to give it your fullest wherever you are. If you find yourself in a position where, you love what you do, dude, get that grind. Just keep going and love your life. But always remember, my whole thing is keeping your body healthy. If you're going to eat junk food, make sure you fucking work out or something like that.
Or have a green smoothie.
Or eat healthy. Just keep going. I don't know.
No, it's good you said that because I think a lot of people out there who haven't found a creative passion or a purpose, who have a 9-to-5 that they love, it doesn't necessarily mean they need to quit their job and start a company. If they love where they're at and they really love where they're at, do you and be the best at your job and do things that make you happy and also take care of your body because that is really important. I think that our body is a temple. We have something it's a gift. We are here for a reason, and I think that you should be taking advantage of your body by giving it the fuel that you need to make it good. How much time, man?
I gotta go.
All right, cool. Well, let's finish this up.
Yeah.
The last thing right now is where can we find you? Flekz, thanks again, by the way, for jumping on here.
Of course, dude. I'm so happy to be here. Honestly, meeting you in China was really dope. You're one of the first few people that I've met in a really long time. I'm just gonna be real. They're not toxic. Your energy is amazing. You're a great person. As soon as I saw you, you started explaining to me how you're gonna shoot that day, what you're gonna do, and how quickly you're gonna do it, and just the hustle and how you understand your process. I admire that because a lot of people don't have that. Even they see it just a gig, but at the same time you had I could just see in your face you had that hunger, the grind, and a lot of people don't have that. And
wow. Thank you.
Yeah, dude. But you can find me on Instagram _FLEKZ_. It's _Flekz_. But I don't use an X. I use KZ. Definitely check out my work. Hopefully you're surprised with what I do. Yeah.
Love it. Well, brother, thank you so much. Man. I seriously, really great combo about creativity, but I think it's just good just kicking it with you and just hearing your story. Because same thing with you, man. I admire your hustle because you could have went to China and you could have went out, partied. You could have,
definitely would want to do that.
Eating on the side while, people weren't watching, but you were working all day.
Yeah.
All day on a small step stool that was messing up your core.
Dude, that step that step ladder was so small.
So I admire your hustle too, my friend. So keep working at it, and everyone,
Thanks,
please follow Flekz because y'all get inspired.
Yeah, thank you for having me, guys. It was awesome.
Thank you for listening to the Creative Haven podcast. And if you dig it and like what you heard today, please give us a nice review and rating and share it with one of your friends that you think needs some creative inspiration. You can always find more content and resources at thecreativehaven.com and hit me up on Instagram at Mitchel Dumlao. And if you want to reach out, collab, or ask any questions, you have my permission to slide into my DMs. So keep positive, continue to learn and hone your craft, and create all day. Salamat.